this guy?
Hi, I'm Alan Gregory. I'm the mentor for FRC Team 3847, Spectrum out of St. Agnes and Straight Jesuit High Schools. We're a FIRST robotics team. What that means is we're part of a program that's for inspiration and recognition of science technology. We're trying to get more high school students excited and interested about STEM and hopefully becoming future scientists and engineers.
I'm Lance Borden. I'm the owner of Borden Radio Company in Houston, and right now we're making 6 different radio kits, and our kits are vintage style radio kits. First one we've been making since 1997, and it's our Armstrong one-tube receiver. It has a 3S4 vacuum tube, which runs on batteries, runs on 2 D cells and 5 9-volt batteries. It's based on the original Armstrong circuit that was invented by Edwin Howard Armstrong in 1912. With this particular circuit, a small amount of the output is fed back to the input of the radio and is done many times, thousands of times per second, and in turn it gives you very great amplification and very selective radio. A particular radio will pick up hundreds of stations. We've had a record of 1,800 miles logged on one of these on the AM broadcast band. The Picard radio was designed by me for a Rice University professor who was teaching a class on amateur radio at the Houston Museum of Natural History, and is basically a simple crystal radio designed in such a way that it's easy for kids to make. It still has reasonable performance. It uses a capacitor in conjunction with the coil to give a parallel tank circuit, which gives the radio a relatively good selectivity. It uses a made in USA germanium diode to give the maximum output, and works quite well. At my location in Friendswood, Texas, I can separate 4 stations with that. The other kit we sell is a Cornell World War II foxhole radio. It's also a crystal radio, a basic crystal radio that uses a blued razor blade and a piece of pencil lead, which is graphite, as a crystal detector. And this kit came from a magazine article I wrote several years ago for Electronics Handbook magazine that covers the history of the World War II foxhole radio and how to build 2 versions of it. So the GIs actually made these radios in their foxholes, and this is a reasonable replica of what they made. And they would use these to listen to Armed Forces radio, Axis Sally, Tokyo Rose, whatever they could pick up.
Yeah, and definitely the significance of that is things you can get out of your rucksack right there. That's just equipment you can have on hand.
Junk they could find on the battlefield.
Right.
Wire out of an ignition coil, a board out of an ammo box, a razor blade they shaved with. They could get earphones out of most any blown-up vehicle or whatever. And so I named that Cornell after Lieutenant Cornell, who actually wrote about that and announced it for the first time in QST Amateur Radio magazine in 1945.
In your kits, do you actually supply the coil or do you supply the wire?
We supply the wire and the coil form, and the coil form is punched with the holes in the right place and instructions on winding the coil.
Okay, that's
because
good.
We feel that somebody building a radio kit misses a lot by not winding the coil themselves.
Right. They definitely don't understand the point of the windings.
Right, yeah. So when you wind the coil yourself, I think you learn a lot more from it.
Now, in your instructionals, do you give people the science behind this? Like, do you explain to them the resonant frequencies and how all that works in a radio?
Yeah, we give a how it works section in all the instructions. There's a historical section in the instructions that tells where this design came from and so forth.
So this isn't just Legos. He's actually teaching you the science behind it, and that's why it's significantly important.
Right, exactly. We have another couple of kits. These are accessories to all the other radios. One of them is the Booker wave trap circuit, and what it is a parallel tank circuit that you can use to tune out an interfering loud station. Like, for example, if you lived very close to one of a strong broadcast station, it made it impossible to hear other stations, you can tune that station out with the wave trap.
Wow.
Then also we have the Morgan antenna tuner kit, which is just what it says. It electrically tunes your antenna to the correct length, so it gives you the most performance out of whatever antenna you have.
Now, I notice you have different coil tap points on there.
Yes.
How often do you have to change those?
If you change your frequency, a major change in frequency on your radio, then you'd have to change the tap points and then change the tuning of the two tuning capacitors. Tune it for maximum output.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty easy to do once you get the hang of it.
Okay, so you guys just selling these kits here, or?
Yeah, well, we sell the kits. We also sell accessories. We sell an antenna kit. This is our antenna kit. It gives 75 feet of 14 gauge hard drawn copper antenna wire that will not stretch in the wind.
Wow.
And then 50 feet of 22 gauge lead-in wire. Comes with necessary insulators and lead-in and instructions and so forth. So this is like an antenna kit that would last you for many years. However, these radios will work with any kind of wire. Just put up at least 50 feet of wire. You could throw it over the house or up into a tree or whatever.
Okay.
If you want a high quality antenna, then we have those.
Now, on the connectors for those antennas, how much attenuation do you get on your signal by each connector? Or is that not even a factor with these?
No, we don't consider that kind of stuff. That's ballpark. I mean, it's just, it's not really important.
All right.
As a matter of fact, to get in, it's practically impossible to build a really efficient broadcast band antenna because it would have to be like miles long.
Don't really have that much of an option for that.
Right, no, you can't do it. Just get as much metal in the air as you can.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's ballpark. We also sell other accessories like speaker amplifiers, and which can be used with any of the radios. And we also sell replica old style batteries that you can put D cells and 9-volt batteries in. Like, here's an example of one.
That's good to look at that.
That's a replica number 6 dry cell. These were commonly used in old telephones, and they were used in radios. And it looks like an old battery, but it really has D cells inside.
A little more efficient.
Yeah, and the D cells are much better batteries than the original number 6 dry cells.
Right.
So,
Well, Larry, seems like you're doing some good work here. You're actually teaching people some things, and that's what I like to see.
okay, well, thank you.
Well, appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
First, I'd like to say thank you to Techno Chaos for inviting us out to the Houston Mini Maker Faire. At the Mini Maker Faire, Techno Chaos was demonstrating educational virtual reality devices, 3D printers, and entry-level robotics. The robotics kits they were using were ones that featured a block-style programming language. Now, the block-style programming language lets you understand the structure of the program more than the syntax, which is very convenient for people who are new to programming and don't quite understand the long-line code yet. Now, because of the simplicity of these programs, children as young as 8 years old were able to successfully program these robots. This teaches them successful skills that they'll be able to move forward with when they get into the more complicated side of things, making their entry into the programming field a lot less overwhelming. While Techno Chaos no longer has a physical location, they now specialize in makerspace, educational, consulting services. The Houston Mini Maker Faire was more than just a conglomeration of projects put on tables. It was people that came together and were able to create a community based around makerspaces and education. Cosine Additive was showing off their own custom 3D printer featuring a heated enclosure and a work envelope of about 1 cubic yard. Hopefully, as the excitement around these events grows, the community will grow, and next year we'll be able to have a full-size Maker Faire here in Houston, Texas. This has been Osiris, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.